Hello friends, this is Jennifer Terri and welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll talk about the recommendation of the Department of Tourism and the real score on the COVID surge in the Philippines and some issues. Alright, let's start with the Foreign National. Department of Tourism hopes that the travel sector's record of posting zero outbreaks would convince policymakers to permit the entry of foreign nationals. Yes, you heard me right. Tourism Secretary Puyat said tourism enterprises have complied with every health protocol set by the government. In her statement, she said, "Since we've started the slow but sure reopening of tourism destinations, no outbreak because of tourism. Never. This COVID surge is not because of tourism." She said that she is confident that our colleagues at the IATF, the government agency that handles the pandemic in the Philippines, would look at the fact that there was no outbreak due to tourism. So when they do, I hope they finally allow foreign tourists to enter our country. So the tourism sector is really struggling to see the light in the pandemic tunnel, especially now that NCR Plus is under lockdown. Further, the government has yet to indicate when it plans to reopen borders to foreign travelers. So as of now, the entry of our nationals is suspended. That's until April 21. Hopefully, by April 20, we will find out whether the suspension will be lifted or extended. But furthermore, Beng Zon, the Department of Tourism Undersecretary, disclosed that the Department of Tourism is evaluating options on how to get vaccinated foreigners into the country. But the proposal has yet to make progress in IATF discussions. So everything is up to the IATF, guys. But the possibility of the Philippines reopening to foreign tourists, my opinion, is far-fetched, unlikely to happen soon. Not in this second quarter of the year. I don't think so. Because even Filipinos are struggling to go home because of the limited flights. All the easing of restrictions lies to the COVID numbers. If there is a high COVID number, then no. Right now, we see a slight improvement in the reproduction number, but it's not enough. We still see that the COVID cases is still high and lines of people waiting outside hospitals because there are not enough rooms available is evidence that the healthcare system in the NCR Plus is at breaking point. So the Philippine government's goal right now is to give overwhelmed hospitals breathing space, building new isolation facilities, and they're sending some medical workers from Visayas to NCR. Why is the COVID cases so high? Why did the surge happen? Like, the government blames the presence of variants. Yeah, fair enough. The variants were highly transmissible, and it's not just the Philippines suffering the second surge. We have other countries too. But here, there are government agencies that blames people for not following health protocols. We have Undersecretary of DILG, Epimaco Densing III, who was infected with coronavirus last year. He blamed this development of COVID cases to Filipinos who violate health protocols and baited for a stricter observance of such measures. We also have Undersecretary of Health Maria Rosario Vergeri. She reiterated that the spike in new cases cannot be attributed solely to the local presence of COVID-19 variants, saying that the public's non-compliance with health protocols remain as its underlying cause. So is the Filipinos to blame for the surge? Are Filipinos hard-headed, not complying with the rules? We can say that the Filipinos, we are not the most disciplined people in the world. How can you expect people to follow health protocols when even the same government officials that should set an example are the ones violating the health protocols? Like, number one example for that is the bold Sinyas. So Sinyas is a cop, he's a police officer. So despite a ban on gatherings in Manila last year, he had a mass gathering. He had his cups celebrating his birthday, and they had alcohol, even though that at that time Manila was on liquor ban. Was he punished? He wasn't punished. Nothing. And there are other incidents. We have officials who took vaccines illegally. There were also officials who received VIP testing. So officials are also part of irregularities here, and none have received their just desserts, whether they violated quarantine or holding large gatherings, participating in VIP testing, or getting COVID-19 vaccines early. None of them received their sanctions or even went to jail. Oh, if it was a regular Filipino, you have a large gathering there in lockdown in ECQ, you go to jail, man. For regular Filipinos. Then we have the Health Secretary, Francisco Duque. He's been under fire for several issues since this start of the pandemic. I've seen the hashtag Duque resign so many times that it feels like a recurring trend. The Senate called for his resignation during the investigation of massive corruption in PhilHealth, and more calls for resignation were made after the secretary dropped the ball on the vaccination procurement last year. And recently, the Filipino Nurses United has called for his resignation. In their statement, they said, "We hope that our leadership be replaced by a more competent Secretary of Health. Secretary Duque must resign for the betterment of our health. We refuse to be sacrificial lambs for this pandemic. We are humans and we need to be cared for. We should be saved from this national calamity, public health disaster." Anyway, this Duque, he's still there. The health secretary continues to muddle along after incompetence upon incompetence. How many more must call for his resignation? So it is plain to see that public trust has never been a priority in our country's COVID-19 response. Despite government officials openly violating the same protocols that is placed upon regular Filipinos, no, they remain to be untouched. To close this, I would say that the Philippines need to change leaders that are incompetent or are not trustworthy. If the people don't trust their leaders, then they won't follow them. And things will not work. This COVID-19 pandemic response should be a teamwork between governments, agencies, and the people. I'll see you guys in my next update. Another episode of the problematic COVID-19 response in the Philippines. But I'll see you again with another travel update, guys. Let me know about your thoughts. I would like to hear them. Bye!